Greetings and welcome to this broadcast. I'm here to share with you this morning a very important piece of information, and this will be a series. I was seeking to do this exclusively on my YouTube channel. I may also venture into doing that. So you'll only see this content on YouTube in the future. I'm trying to get that sorted out, but I have that dealt with. Of course, I'll share the link on Facebook so you can follow. I'm seeking to build my YouTube platform and also to for educational purposes, have that environment where it's less distracting for some of you. Because this content is extremely critical, most vital to your understanding as we in Guyana and you in the USA, probably other parts of the world, encounter or approach what is called an electoral cycle. We're speaking today democratic dictators of the world. And here in Guyana, I would say that the PPP civic, there's nothing civic about them. They call it civic and then they just call it the PPP. The People's Progressive Party happens to be the one, in my view, that takes the cake. As you join the broadcast, please indicate whether you can hear me clearly and you can also see me clearly. I am about to, as well here in London, I'm putting out a notice, so send police and we have to send, head to the mayor and town council to engage in civil protest. Somebody's getting interference on YouTube. Is there anybody else on YouTube? That's a comment from YouTube. Didi, thank you. DD1, somebody's getting interference. Is there anyone else who's experiencing interference as you join this broadcast? That is why I decided to come here so I can get feedback from you. Okay? So Facebook is good. So we have Gershel from Facebook saying Facebook is loud and clear. You too have some interference. So is there anyone else? Okay, so Eula is saying that YouTube is loud and clear. Good, thank you. So let's have this conversation. I really don't wait for numbers to build and we have to wait for 2,000 and 1,300. I really don't go down that path. I just decided I'm going to speak to you as I should. I just want to ensure that the quality of the stream is fine, and then we can have this conversation. So we're speaking, as I said, to the global dictatorship, of which I believe are the global democratic dictators. And I believe that the PPP in Guyana, the People's Progressive Party, have taken the cake. They are among the top, or maybe, in my view, among the worst you could ever think of finding in this world. Thank you, Ndesi, for sharing. Thank you, and for sharing this broadcast. Here at the People's Movement, which involves people from all walks of life, even other political parties, and some of you don't know that. The persons who are committed to other political groups who are a part of the People's Movement in context, or with the understanding that this is not about us. In the case, I'm PNC, as they would say, I'm PPP, I'm a APNU, I'm a AFC. Well, APNU is a collection of parties, by the way. It's a partnership for national unity. But the view that we share is that we should all be interested in moving forward. So I don't mind what political group you're affiliated with. What I do mind is whether you are one who is connected to a group or so faithful to a group or political party to the detriment of your conscience. Now, anyone who is going to be so committed to a political group to the extent that they suppress their human conscience and conviction, you are not welcome around me or the People's Movement. Because we as a people have to understand the power we have to move our country forward. In Bangladesh, the people realized, and hundreds of students were killed, but the young people realized that they cannot sit back and allow corruption to rule in their country. And what they said is they're going to take to the streets and they're going to protest the actions of the prime minister. And this is what I'm getting to in reference to democratic dictatorship. The police and the military came out and shot and killed young people for going to the streets to protest and to fight against one who was elected yet again took to the streets to fight against. Is the broadcast still fine? Took to the streets. The youth went out to fight against what they considered to be a corrupt political group, the president and his entire cabinet. The army came out, the military came out, and paramilitary came out, shot and killed many young people. There's a trend here. In Guyana, South America, people are afraid of going out to the streets to take a stance against corruption, against nepotism, which would be people who would utilize their office to have the means of favor being granted to their relatives and friends and so on. Okay, so somebody's getting a little feedback. I know that the internet is ridiculous this morning. I don't know why. Is there anyone else apart from Jaiwan Bundari who's getting some feedback? Alicia said the audio is static. Let's see here. All right, so let's see how this is going to go. I don't know why you're getting a feedback. I may have to check my devices, but it's fine. Okay. Once you can hear me clearly, I'm fine. In the USA, when people decide that they're going out to the street to protest, you would normally see law enforcement. And in many instances, it depends on the people's reaction. You will have something say get a significant feedback. I don't know who's to this broadcast, but we go ahead nonetheless. Nonetheless, you have, when you take to the streets in the USA, you immediately would see law enforcement or the reserves. Reservists will come out and they'll stand on National Guard and they'll be there and they're policing you, they're watching to see what you're doing. And they'll be quick to arrest anyone who seems to be acting contrary. In the UK, the United Kingdom, there are protests that are ongoing. Persons have said they had enough of the oppression and of what is happening to them. They've begun to fight. And what do you have? A military response or paramilitary response. I was speaking to democratic dictators today because I want you to understand quite clearly what behoves people who are not in the police force, not in police departments, not in the army, not in any paramilitary arm of the nation. But you are a citizen, as you call a regular or normal citizen, seeking to have the rights that you are supposed to be entitled to, constitutionally so. Have your rights exercised and experienced. And once you feel aggrieved that you are not having those rights being afforded or meted down to you, you decide, okay, you're going to head to the streets and you're going to protest. Once you do that, and if you hear me clearly, you can comment, please. And let's speak to Guyana here. Once you in Guyana take to the street, once you head out to the street to say you are disagreeing with what is happening, what is the first thing that you see? Who are the first set of people to show up around you? Because I want to make a point to Barra Jack Deal, to David Granger, all y'all included in this, Orby Norton, every last one of you. You are included in the mix right here. If an Ali, well, you don't have power to do anything. All of you are included. Thank you. See the response right here? The police. I want you to see something and not take careful note of this. The moment you decide Even with teachers, they said they weren't getting, and they are not receiving adequate sustenance in terms of monetary to provide for their families in relation to what is necessary given the current cost of living in Guyana. Once you go to the street to say you're going to oppose that, Blessings has it perfectly put. The police show up. But I want you to think about this morning, and that's why I said I'm going to do this series on YouTube, because the distraction of the quality, I'll just do a pre-recorded video more than likely, or try to go live, whatever happens, and you'll view it from there. The police with their guns in Guyana show up. You need to ask yourself now, why? If your country is called, and this is essentially an educational broadcast. So if you're stupid, I'm not speaking to you. If you have no sense, I'm not speaking to you. If you are in the same class or would have been in the same class as your fan, I certainly cannot speak to you if you all share sentiments and ideologies. I can't talk to you. If you are one of Barrett's puppies and puppets, I cannot speak to you either. If you are just a PNC, hardcore, die-hard bloodhound who doesn't process well, I'm not speaking to you either. So this is the broad net I'm spreading in reference to who I address. Now, if you are in a democratic society, your country is called, as the Guyanese like to talk, oh, we're democratic, we're democracy. And the PPP like to tell you that, oh, we're democracy. And Granger and others would say, we're democracy. Okay, fine. And for this broadcast, I must say I give David Granger the greatest credit, the most credit of all. David Granger, although I don't like him because he's a big person, but David Granger deserves the most credit for respecting the fact that people have a right to go on the street and protest. That's one man I can tell you of. Understood clearly that people have the right. Granger understood that. And he didn't prohibit people from exercising that right. But oh, when it comes to Barrett, he does not understand, or he does not appreciate or respect, I should say, the right of people to take to the streets and speak against him. And that is what we have to address. So there are those who would say that we're a democratic society, we're a democratic nation, and then the name of Guyana is the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. So this is educational. When one speaks to a democratic society, it speaks to a society in which people govern through representatives. People govern. How do they govern? They govern through representation. I may repeat some things you've heard before, but it's for reinforcement. Now, if we have 700, 800,000, maybe a million people in this country by now, we do not have the means, okay? We do not have the ability or the means for all of us to go into any building to discuss our business. It becomes chaotic. How can you have 200,000 people arguing as to what they want? So what has been strategically developed is what is called a system of governance. And in this system of governance is called representation. So what happens in terms of representation is that the people will decide who they want to go to represent them at different levels of society or governance. We have got the local government level, which I say again, I'm about to go to the Mayor Town Council in Linden, because the town clerk of Linden, the one who's installed, he was never employed by the council. The one who was put there by the PPP, Gaspar, and I have nothing personal against Gaspar. This right here is a political decision I'm making. No, it's not a PNC decision. It's not an APNU decision. It's not a PPP decision. It's a political decision. Let me help you with this. It's a political decision because I believe in good governance. And anybody, I was a witness to this. Anybody who's called a town clerk in this community, who's going to go out and seek to stop people from cleaning the community and ensuring that the municipal market, is kept clean, and saying you're not going, until people are saying you're going to throw garbage here in a wanton manner, and he is going to go to oppose that, you cannot be anything called a town clerk. If he's going to be so instrumental in oppressing the development of this community, especially by the actions. Now, you see, when it comes to PNC and PPP, you all could fight all you want. But when it comes to civic-minded people, going like Conan Marshall, going out like Theodore Adams, going out there, and others who would have gone out there to say, we're going to try to fix this town and keep the town clean, and you begin to undermine that, listen to me, once you go down that path, you have to get out. I don't play with that. This is one time I don't play with y'all. When it comes to civic-minded people who will say we want good things to happen to our community, and we're going to be responsible for what happens in our community. That's called the people governing. And you decide that you're going to try to make yourself a clown. No, once you do that, you will be met with strict, severe, and intense opposition. So I'm headed to the mayor and town council. There's supposed to be a statutory meeting today, but I'm going to go there because you all represent me. You represent the town you serve. Today, I will understand that you serve this town. The town doesn't serve you. You serve this town, and because you serve this town, when you see I hit that road this morning and I show up at the council, you bring all the police you want. You will understand that you are here to serve the people of this town. You're not here to control anything here. I don't care what Jagdeo told you or who told you what. You're not here to control them. And we're going to get that clear. Every councillor, the mayor, the deputy mayor, all y'all will get this very clear this morning about what role you play in this town. We ain't get it clear today. So with that said, the people of a nation can decide that they would like to select specific individuals to represent them. The issue with Guyana, and the issue with many other territories is that, for one, this doesn't happen in the US, but it happens in Guyana. In Guyana, we have what is called a list system. So you have a list. And on this list, there are 65 seats in the House of Assembly. We call them parliamentary positions, or members of parliament. So the PNC, the PPP, whoever else could submit 65 names. So these are the people. If they win all 65 seats, then automatically they put 65 people there. But let's say they win 20 seats. Of the 65 people, one man who's called the head of the list. I want to show you how this country is. One man, one person. In the PNC's case, it's called APNU's case is called David Granger. He's David Granger. The PPP's head of the list is not Irfanal. He's not the president. The one who's paid to be president. It's Barra Jagdeo. The head of the parliamentary list is Barra Jagdeo, and he doesn't go to parliament because it's a clown show. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that the person who's the head of the list for the PPP doesn't go to parliament because it's a clown show? So he selected his clowns to go to parliament, including himself, by the way. So he's the one that clowns in parliament. So the Papa clown has got his little minions. The other clowns go into parliament. So the head of the list is one person, and that individual selects who would go to parliament. Now, let me make this clear to you all. You didn't vote for Anand Lal to go to parliament. You didn't vote for Dharam Lal to go to parliament. You didn't vote for Kwame McCoy. I am dead sure that East Indians in this country would never vote for Kwame McCoy to go to parliament. I know you all will. You wouldn't. You didn't vote for Robeson Ben. You didn't vote for Ashneet Singh. You didn't vote for that individual or those individuals to go to parliament. You voted for the PPP. And then Jagdeo decided, from this list of 65 people, you will go, you can go. So can you imagine, can you understand, can you comprehend that what they call a democracy is actually dictatorship? Because you don't have a say in who goes to parliament. Or you just select a body. You vote for a body. And when you vote for that body, then one person decides who goes to parliament. So you are not represented in the House of Assembly, Guyanese, by people who you vote for. You're represented by a party for whom you voted. And I show you how you're not even represented by that party. But technically speaking, and how they want to sell it to you, that you're a democracy. You're not a democracy if you do not have the right to choose who represents you. Let's start there as to how Guyana should be fixed. And all of these political morons have done the same thing. They like the system because the system gives one man power. And if you kiss his toes and suck his fingers, then obviously you have a chance to go to parliament. If you make him get upset, he pulls you from the list, come out. You're not in parliament anymore. And the junkies for power, they love that. Guyanese do not choose the parliamentarians. You choose the political party that you like. You do not choose parliamentarians. So you can have in the House of Assembly people who you don't even want to see around your gate. But they were put there by David Granger, or they were put there by Barrett Jagbio. Now, David Granger is not in the House of Assembly, but he could say who goes. And he could take Norton out if he wants to. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that a 75-year-old man or 76 or however old he is, who has nothing to do with the House of Assembly, he has not been there even once for the whole year, or since Parliament would have started, as far as I'm aware. And he, David Granger, controls who? He controls Amanza Walton Desir, he controls Royce Ford, he controls Wade, what's that one? Coretta McDonald, he controls every last one of them who's in the House of Assembly. Granger does that. Granger, who doesn't go to Parliament. Can you imagine that Barrett Jagbio, who doesn't go to Parliament either, and he's paid by us, the people. He isn't paid by the PPP, he's paid by the people in Guyana. He doesn't go either. But he controls who is in Parliament. Do you Guyanese, have you begun to understand the political cesspool that you're in, the political latrine that you found yourself in, and that we the people have to move this nation out of that garbage? I do not take any politician seriously. None. If they abide by this system. I know that you're a joke. Once you said that you agree with this system, I know that you're an idiot. I don't have time to waste with y'all. Because I know that's why I'm informing Guyanese about how wicked you are and how evil you are in terms of how you behave. Any politician who abides by this system, now you would have to work with the system to get into the House of Assembly. Once you get into the House of Assembly, or before you get there, fight for it to be changed from now. That's what I'm doing. I'm fighting from now for this to be changed. Whether I go to the House of Assembly, I don't go to the House of Assembly, I'm saying this nonsense has to stop. This has to be changed rapidly, because this is a disaster for Guyana. We have people in the House of Assembly for whom we've never voted. Everyone who enters our parliament should be elected by the people from their constituency. If the people didn't choose you to go there, you shouldn't get there. It's that simple for me. You should have to vote for 65 people. And you should have a right to say you want, and this should be a regional election. So in every region, you vote for who you want to lead. Once you do that, you tally across the nation, and the people would have a chance to head to the House Assembly. It's that simple for me. We have the money to do it because it's done in every other part of the world. We have 10 administrative regions in Guyana. 10. Guyana has 10 administrative regions. You all hear me clearly, please. 10. Why would you have to have 65 members of parliament to govern 10 administrative regions? Y'all tell me, please, help me to make the maths work. Huh? Are y'all here? How do you have 10 administrative region? 10. Region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm from Linden. I'm from region 10, which is Upper Demerara, Upper Base. Now, please tell me, how do you have 10 regions? Administration speaks to governance. So you have 10 regions in the country divided for administrative purposes, but you have 65 members of parliament. That makes sense to you? That honestly makes sense to you all. Now, you don't need to have 65 people in the House of Assembly. You can have 33. Because the region with the greater population should have greater representation. But my view is that every region must be represented in the House of Assembly. That's my conviction. Every region must have representative in the House of Assembly, And for the region with the largest population, which would be region 4, you should have at least 2 or 3. Good. Now, there you go. That's Deputy Mayor speaking here. Now, at the sub-region level, you don't need member parliament for that. At the sub-regional level, we divide the region into sub-regions now. You can have people who represent or listen to the complaints, represent the people at a regional level. And then the 1 or 2, there should be 1 for region 10, that individual goes to the House of Assembly to make representation for the region, if he or she is elected by those in the region. So you have a regional contest for leadership. And the one who wins for the region goes to represent people. So the argument becomes, so what if it's a PNC and PPP win? That's why we have to have the people who govern. That's why we have to have the people who govern this country, not politicians who govern this country. The people must govern. And if you go there and you don't, if you're PPP or you're PNC or whatever you are, and we say we want this, and you go say something else House of Assembly, we kick you out. But in a democratic society where there is dictatorship as the underpinning of all mechanisms, you don't have that happening. What you have is in Guyana and other parts of the world is that there are people who are dictators and who say this is a democratic society. If it is a democratic society, then why are the people not governing? Huh? So Leo, I remember, okay, Leo was an assistant regional executive officer for Region 10. I remember that, with responsibility for sub-regions. It should be sub, Kokwani and Berbice River for 5 years and 6 months. There you go. So Leola understands clearly that you can have Leo. No, Leola, you weren't in parliament. That's the point I'm making. Leola was not in parliament, but she was an assistant regional executive officer who had to have responsibility for the business being conducted in the region. That information should be filtered all the way up to the chairman level, and that chairman should be able to represent or present to the member of parliament, and those members of parliament would go to the House of Assembly to speak. I want to know why I have to have 65 of them. We don't want PNC, PPP, AFC, APNU, the People's Movement, whatever else it is, TUC, no, no, no. What we want would be people who understand that you have to represent the interests of your region. Desmond Hoyt used to say it and put it very well. My father was never a member of the PNC, and some of you don't even know that. My father was never a member of the People's National Congress. But Desmond Hoyt recognized his ability and his interest in his community. And Desmond Hoyt approached my father and said to him, there's a time for politics, party politics, and there's a time for people to be served. He said, you don't have to be a member of the PNC. You don't have to join anything called the PNC. All I want you to do is represent New Amsterdam as you do. And my father was a councillor in New Amsterdam. My father was also a councillor in the RDC in Linden. Why? Because he was never a member of the PNC or PPP. My father was one who the presidents understood. This man has an interest in his community, not in politics, as they call it. And my father served as a councillor because he was one who was identified clearly as one who has the community in mind, not parties in mind. Now that's news to some of y'all, but I need to inform you about it. What has happened? Let me see what it says. So you also serve as an AR, you remember that, but now redesignated to admin officer at the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development because it was forced out of Region 10 by PPP local leaders. So no way. No. We have to, no. People of this country, we can't have that nonsense happening around us. Now, Leola would have to, as far as I'm seeing it, she may be working in Georgetown. There's somebody who resides in Linden. How do you, and this is not party I'm talking, this is about common sense and this is a woman. And I'm talking to how women are treated in our country. This is a woman, a mother. Now, why must this mother be forced to Georgia? Who's going to take care of her in the city? She was an assistant regional executive officer. Anyway, we have got people who are in our society who are shouting that they are democratic in nature, but they don't understand what democracy means, because the people are not governing this country. We have got the name of our country being the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Brothers and sisters, enemies and friends, the term when a nation is called a republic, it speaks to, Shalom Brother Ronald, it speaks to the people governing the nation. So two words, you have democracy, which is demo, speaks to people, crassy, govern, that's the etymology of the term. People govern. In a cooperative republic, in a republic, the republic is where the people govern. So we have two titles applied to us, and it's not our reality. So let me show you what happens here, if I can. As I said, the moment you see today, the moment you see people step out to protest, the police show up. Why do the police show up? Not to maintain peace and law and order. The police in Guyana are under the PPP, are here to intimidate, harass, and if possible, even kill Guyanese, especially of African descent. That's the main purpose of this police body on the PPP. Intimidation, harassment, and murder. That's what I call it. Murder by the hands of the state if you let them do it. Now, can you understand clearly here that if the people govern and the people are displeased with what's happening in the country, the people should have the right, and they do have the right according to the Constitution, to go out of their homes and say, we are displeased by your behavior. We don't want this to happen in our society, and we need you to have this fixed now. The moment you do that, the police show up and say that you are disturbing the peace. Okay, so let's get this clear. You are considered to be guilty of disturbing the peace. Whose peace? Today is the day we have to think. When you go and make noise on the street and you start behaving in a manner that says, we're not tolerating this anymore, and I'll get to X on all them in this just introduction to this, you are guilty of disturbing. The police can arrest you and say you've disturbed the peace. Whose peace have you disturbed? Because remember, you and the people in society, we've said we don't like this behavior. We do not want to see heads boasting that in the first quarter, a year is divided into 4 parts, 12 months into 4 parts. In the first quarter, in the first 3 months of the year, Hess, not Exxon, Hess, not a smaller company than Exxon, has boasted of having received from their well $730+ million in 3 months. Lord help Guyana. In 3 months, Hess has boasted. In 3 months, as of June, Guyana received 240 plus, almost $150 million US from oil revenue. Guyana. If on average $50 million is worth about 10 billion Guyana dollars, we have $50 billion as of June. Now, if we decide as a people that we're not accepting this, there is no way, and I could tell Jagdi that's why Jagdi would never come and debate me face to face. Bara Jagdi will never debate me face to face because he knows me very well. Forbes Burnham would never allow any company, I don't care whether you like Burnham or not. PNC don't talk about Burnham as much as I do. They still call his name. I call his name in any circle in front of anybody's face. Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham would have never had Hess or Exxon here. Both they collected almost $1 billion within 3 months. And Guyana got 232 million in 6 months. You feel Burnham would accept that? You believe that Burnham would accept that? And it's our oil? It's our oil. It's our resource. You know what Jagdeo said? You don't have the means to extract the oil. And because we don't have the means to extract the oil, then we're not supposed to fight with Exxon about how much money we get from it. So because Exxon set up everything to extract the oil, Jagdeo said, well, we can't fight. That idiot. And how could you all say this fell got any sense? Listen to me carefully, please. First of all, every single thing you see Exxon with a set up out there, we pay for it. Just understand that. Whatever Exxon has set up there and whoever is employed by Exxon, including Guyanese people, we pay them. Or Rutledge, all of y'all, we pay y'all. We are paying these people. And in this dictatorship, leaders are telling you that you must accept what Exxon is doing, what Hess is doing, what all of them are doing, because you as the Guyanese cannot do anything about it. But remember that you're supposed to be called a democracy. Isn't that what they said? Isn't that what they call them? Guardians of democracy. And who's democracy? So if you're a democracy and who's democratic, if you're a democracy, which means that the people govern, and the people are saying, we don't accept this nonsense. You're not supposed to be taking all this money from us and giving us a little pittance here and there. And the people are saying to the PPP, you have got to respect the fact that if you're receiving all of this money in oil revenue, we need to benefit from it. In a democracy, if the people say that, you tell me what's supposed to happen. You can type a little lengthy thing here, but please type what's supposed to happen. If democracy means demo means people, crassy govern. If people govern, and the people say, in a cooperative republic means people govern. So if in a cooperative republic, the people say that we don't accept, we are displeased with this behavior, we want money because we are not feeling, as Deputy Mayor said, we're not feeling the benefits of oil, we're not enjoying this benefit. So what we want is money coming to us. If you are in a democratic society where the people govern, what's supposed to happen? I want to show you how dictatorial Guyana is. If you are in a democratic society where the people govern and the people say that they're displeased, they want to have the benefit of this oil, more of it coming to us than them. What's supposed to happen? In a democratic society, what's supposed to happen? If we govern it, and we tell those who are representing us in leadership that we don't like this. We don't like this. This has to be fixed. And if there's a delay, so I'll wait for you to answer me. What is supposed to happen? So you got politicians coming in your face telling you, but it's a democratic society and we're a democratic society. But when the people say what they're displeased with, nothing happens. And if I tell you all to your face, he said it when they were commissioning some barge by the wharf there, when religion that you have to look at Venezuela and what Exxon did to Venezuela. Do you understand that? That we cannot touch this contract. Guyanese, if you are functioning in a democratic society, then if you say that something is unacceptable, if the people, the masses say that, then they have to fix it. Do you understand me? That is what's supposed to happen in Guyana. No politician is supposed to turn and tell you you're not doing that and just ignore what you say. If the people say they're displeased, then it has to happen. Or they say, well, how do you know whether the people are displeased? Well, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to go to the people in what is called a referendum. You ask of the people. That's common sense. How do you know that the people wanted the PPP to be in office, as you call it, according to your democratic rule? Then the people have to vote for you to go there. So you had a record. You said the people chose this is what they want. So how is it when it comes to oil, we can't choose what we want? Huh? Now, should the people go out to the street, that's where we go to vent. We go to forms to vent. Oh, let me get this one here now. So let me get another one to show how dictatorial Guyana is. And the US, all y'all are the same thing. You're dictators. You're never Democrats. So they meet at the House of Assembly. Here in Guyana, they meet at Arthur Chung Convention Center. They decided, not we, mind you, the PPP decided that they are going to move from the Parliament building, which is in central Georgetown. Now, we, the people, own now. They decide. We say, represent us in this building called Parliament Building. They decided, no, we're going to Arthur Chung Convention Center. And they move. So even the place, you all think this is a game. Even the place where they meet, we didn't have the power to decide that. I'm coming down the road for some of y'all, you can get a heart attack this morning. They decided that they're going to move away from the marked designated place for meetings to go somewhere else. Good. They're gone. They went to Arthur. Okay. Now look at this. In a democratic society, they say that the democratic now, the people govern. When they go to Arthur Chung to convene parliament, I want anyone else to tell me this. Do you as a Guyanese have the right to go and shout anywhere around there, walk in the building and say, listen here, we don't agree with y'all. We don't want you here. Do you have the right to do that? Do you as a Guyanese have the right to go into Parliament building and stand in the House Assembly and disrupt them and say, no, we don't, damn, now come out here. Because you told Oma she wants to, look, get out here. Do you have the right? Do you as a Guyanese? Remember that you're governing now. And these people are your servants. I'll show you something today. And if this doesn't catch your attention, I don't know what will. If this doesn't make you think in Guyana or anywhere else, I don't know what will. You in the US cannot walk up to Congress. You can't go to the House and say, listen here, I have an issue with y'all. You can't go to the Senate when they're meaning to say, walk in there and say, I'm unarmed, and you get to arming the state as well. I'm unarmed, but I came to talk to those who supposed to be representing me in here. And I don't want you here. You would make the news for being tossed out on your head. Are you all here? So let me bring this closer home to those of you who are just blind and following these people as if you have no sense. Imagine I'm at home. I'm in a room in my house. Can you think of if you employ somebody, or in my case, I'll use me as an example. Imagine I employ somebody to clean my house. I'm the owner of this house now. I own the house. I employ a servant to clean my house. Come and clean this house for me. I'll pay you whatever it is. Remember, the political people say that the politicians say, oh, they're your servants. Remember that? They told you that they serve you in parliament. That's what they tell you. Good? Now, imagine that I employ somebody to come and clean my house. I then tell the person, I then tell the individual, listen, I don't want you to put it there. I don't want that over there. Put the chair on the other side of the room. The person tells me, no, I'm not putting it there. The chair belongs over here. When I go to move the chair, that individual calls the police. I say, come, there's somebody who's moving the chair and it shouldn't be moved. Arrest them. You think it sounds crazy, doesn't it? You would say this is insanity. You would say to me or to the police, are you mad? Are you crazy? How can you tell this man where his chair must go in his house? And most of this person doesn't own the house. They're working for him. So how can the servant tell the master of the house where the thing must go? That's what you would say. Correct? Okay. Every member of parliament, every mayor, every town clerk, every councillor, every regional chairman, All of them are servants of the people. Every police officer, every military officer is a servant of the people. But in this case, the servants are telling the masters, you don't have the right to protest and tell us anything about what you want and what we should do. And I can promise you that in election cycles, as they come here again, the PPP, PNC, and all, they all are going to tell people, we're here to serve you. Elect us so we can represent you. And that's kind of speech now. Represent you. Elect us so that we can serve you. And we can give you what you require of us. Tell us what you want and we'll do it. But the minute you say what you want, you are victimized in Guyana. And you're called a troublemaker. Then they hold press conferences and talk about you and say that you trying your best to, Pastor Shalom, you trying your best to undermine the peace of the state, and you do, and this should happen, and we've made a decision, says the politician. You made a decision by whose instruction? Can you imagine that your servant is telling you that you cannot move certain things around your house and you cannot make certain demands in your house? And you tell your servant to take this $5,000 and go buy chicken. Take this money, take this $5,000, take this money and go buy some chicken and beef. You give them a specific instruction. Buy 2 pounds of chicken and 5 pounds of beef. You have given your servant the money to make to make a payment, to make a purchase. You told them exactly what you want. And the servant comes back to tell you that I did not buy chicken, I did not buy beef. I chose to buy fish because I want fish instead. And I know fish better for you because you don't know what you want. Will you accept that? So if you don't accept it in your house, how do you accept it from political figures in your country? How do you have anyone in this country telling you, as the owner of the state, what you can and cannot have? Politicians, as you call them, are servants of the people. That's why they call ministers. To minister means to serve, not to rule. So in this democratic society, as you all call it, we have a dictatorship. And the dictatorship has got what is called the police force. That's the first arm they have, the PPP. You have mastered this. You've got a force called the Guyana Police Force, waiting right there. And you ensure, what's this? That the people who are supposed to protect and serve us, the police, by the way, protect and serve us, not politicians. You ensure that when the people who are the masters of the state go out there, you send police officers. Why? Because once you send police officers, you're saying that they have to maintain, we have to maintain the peace. Oh, okay. Whose peace? When it speaks to maintaining the peace, it's the politician's peace, not the people's peace. Because our peace is disrupted when you come to tell us we can't stand and fight for what we want. Your peace is at stake when we decide to go out there and say we're not accepting your behavior anymore. So therefore, what is at play here is the democratic dictators. They have the means by understanding, and this is done by the PNC, this is done by the PPP, this is done by APNU, this is done by AFC, this is done by every last one of y'all. This is done in the USA, in the Bahamas, in Barbados, in Jamaica, in Suriname. It doesn't matter where you go in this world, where you see this thing, the democratic nation is applied, it happens everywhere. You know what they do? They have the force and forces in place to deal with you. That's it, Otto. We have to take the power back. And that's what I've been asking Ghanaians to do for the longest while. If we don't take that power back, y'all are wasting time. You could go where you want to go. That's why I said Conan Marshall. I would big up Conan every day. I talk about Conan anyway because Conan proved himself to me to be a man. It's Conan, Zico, and these guys, in reference to Zico, is a counselor. But as a citizen who has no leadership role in reference to political authority and stuff, Conan has stepped up beyond to say, no more dumping garbage here. See how simple it was? Unlike me, that's what I could do with Conan. You could send the whole police force if you want. I said, you are not doing it. That's when people begin to take power. When you begin to stand up and say, no, you come and do what you want, but you're not doing it here. The police are supposed to be servants of the people because they're paid by us. Instead, the PPP and other political agents have empowered the police force to force their will on you. So police are not servants of the people. In a dictatorship, the police serve the political agents and rulers. They don't serve the people. So let me ask you this question. When we go to the street, who sends the police out there? Let's get this thing clear. When we go to the street, who sends the police to us? Because we don't call them. Somebody has to send them. See, just about Theodore is right here. When we go to the street as Guyanese to voice our displeasure, who sends the police to us? Today's the day for you to wake up and realize what's going on around you. Who sent them? I don't send them. You don't call them. So who sends them? When you have got policemen and women who are instructed by a political figure to come out there to deal with the people, then it's no longer the police serving the people. It's the police serving a political agenda. What is even more tragic is when the people are saying that all of us, including the police, need to benefit from the oil revenue and need to live a better life. When people are saying that to the police, and the police are being told from above, no, you go and stop them from walking here. Arrest this one, shoot that one, do that. And the police would raise a gun and pull a trigger because at the end of the day, they'll get a promotion for killing you. And by the way, the police force of Guyana has no one in it who earns even 50% of what a PPP cabinet minister earns. Now swallow that. Hicken, Brutus, Blanham, none of y'all, and you know it's a fact, you don't even earn 50% of what the PPP's member parliament in terms of cabinet ministers earn. If you are not earning 50%, how do you live the way you do? Can we have a conversation this morning? Huh? The police, the term police force, police department, police services, never, the word police did not exist during slavery. I'm teaching you if I can. I'm helping you if I can. but I'm speaking to you because I must. The term police was non-existent when Africans were enslaved. Guyana didn't have a police force when Africans were enslaved. So whose peace are the police seeking to preserve and protect? Africans were not allowed to be policemen. Did you know that? For decades after the police force was formed, there was no one of African descent or Indian descent, no East Indian was allowed to be in the police force either. None of y'all. Can you please speak to me? Can you talk to me? Talk back to me here. There you go. The chairman of community policing, Leola, is on the ball today. Reported her secretly. I was told that if she reported to the police, they're going to ignore her report. So if you had nothing called a police force when slaves were beaten and killed and raped and buggered by men, what gave rise to this term policing? And whose peace are the police protecting? When, therefore, in 2024, according to Progressive calendar, we go to the street and you see police show up, they are there because of the DNA of policing. And all you African policemen, all you East Indian policemen, you can learn today. You are serving with a DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid is the term. You're in your DNA, hardwired into you in that uniform, is a code. And that code for all you Africans and Indian ones is about your ancestors being crippled from standing for what they believe in. That's what you represent. That's what you're coming out there to do. To live and breathe the way of the Caucasian terrorists. They're not slave masters, they're terrorists, murderers, who understood that if we're going to free you, and I have a broadcast doing on emancipation, I give you all the days to dance and the shiki and stuff, you're the shiki until I write to you with you. They decided that once you are called free, you have to be controlled. Mr. Deputy Mayor, can you tell us when the statutory meeting is going to start? Is it 10 o'clock? Please inform me about when, as a servant of the people, when is the statutory meeting for the Mayor and Town Council going to start? I need to be in attendance. I don't make any secret move. I tell you all straight up what I want to do, because I need for there to be answers given to me today about the role of this town clerk called Gasper. How did he get into office? We're going to the whole line today. The whole yard we're going to cover. Theo, I hope I'll see you out today. I don't know where you are, but my brother Theo, we need to be out there because things are come right in Linden. 10:30. That's the meeting starts. Okay. So when you wear your blue and black in Guyana, or your blue, black, and red in the Bahamas, you are uniformed with a DNA. And that DNA, that DNA says you must execute the will of superiors, not protect the right of people. Police are never out to protect the right of people. They're out to protect the will of their superiors. Get sense. You hear me? The police are never out to protect the will of the people. They are out there to protect the will and the right of their political superiors. How do I know that? All right, let's go back to basics. Here in Guyana, South America, and this I'm testing in social studies now. Who is responsible in terms of political power for the Guyana Police Force? Which minister, which office, which minister in Guyana? Give me the title. Which minister? Think. That is the way we're going to think, because I deal with independent thinkers. Which minister in Guyana is responsible for the Guyana Police Force? Do you know? What's the name of the ministry? Exactly. The Ministry of Home Affairs. So Robeson Ben, who is the Minister of Home Affairs, has authority over the Guyana Police Force. That should already put a light on in some of your head. In some of your heads, it should already gone off. The alarm should have already sounded. In Guyana, a political party has a minister who is appointed as the Minister of Home Affairs, and the PPP appoints the Minister of Home Affairs, or APNU appointed the Minister of Home Affairs, and that minister is responsible for the police. Need I say more? Do I need to tell you anything else? So how is it that your superior officer, your highest ranking official with responsibility for your daily activities and operation is the Minister of Home Affairs? That minister is the PPP. Barra Jagdio put Robeson Ben there. And Barra Jagdio and Irfan have got authority to tell Ben what to do, or he's out. Remember that Ben is on the list in the House Assembly. Remember, the head of the list is Barra Jagdio. So if Ben doesn't know what he's told, Jagdio kicks him out of Parliament. Out. So Jagdio controls whether Ben can be Minister of Home Affairs, because he can be kicked out of Parliament by Jagdio. Now you tell me, please, how does the police force, how can the police force function with a PPP, or if AFC wins, with an AFC minister being in charge? Whose will the police have to execute? Now, don't tell me, because the law, that's why I tell police officers, the law of Guyana is that the police must obey all lawful orders. That's why this is written in law. In law, it's enshrined in our constitution that the police must obey lawful orders. But you have to understand that there is an instructor in Robeson Ben or Barra Jagdio who has power. It gets better. You want me to tell you how it gets better? Who, social studies again, who in this country determines who's police commissioner? Do you know the process? According to the Constitution of Guyana, according to the Constitution of our country, do you know, according to the law of Guyana, how a commissioner of police is appointed? The society states that the president and the leader of the opposition must have this meeting to agree on who will be the police boss. Not us. We have no say in who will be controlling our peace being protected and our safety being protected and ensured. To determine who would be the head of the police force in your country, two men meet, or if it's two men or whatever it is, two officers, the president and leader of the opposition. So two of them decide on who should be in charge of policing us. Does that sound to you as though they have our best interests at heart? Huh? Does that sound to you as though the police commissioner is appointed by the will of the people? But technically, it's supposed to be so, because remember that the president and the leader of the opposition were elected by the people, so that they could do the people's business. See, technically it's supposed to be that way. The assumption, according to the law, is that they're going to now do what the people want. Therefore, they're going to appoint who the people want. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. The meeting is scheduled to start at 10, but it will begin no later than 10:30. Thank you very much. Now, how could any president or leader of the opposition tell me who should protect me? When I have no power over the I can't tell Hikin what to do, what not to do. I cannot tell Hikin that I'm standing here to represent my rights, so you all shouldn't be bothering me, because he got an instruction from his head, who happens to be Robeson Ben, or the Minister of Home Affairs, that he should go and stop the people in Linden or Berbice or Georgetown, wherever it is, from protesting. Or if you don't know, they can also get a phone call, leave the people alone. Don't bother those people. So in some societies, when people go and block the road, like in Fort Moran, no police could do them anything, because they got an instruction, leave the people alone. In Linden, from the time you go out to your house, apparently, and say, we don't want, stop this one. Because it all comes by instruction. You are not in a democratic society if you are controlled to that extent. People don't govern if people can't rule. And I'm leaving you with that. People do not govern if the people cannot rule. Don't assume that all of us are wild, crazy, and insane. So that as soon as we take the street, you have to come and corral us like little cattle and put us in a little coop here, because we can't walk beyond that step. The moment you believe that you have the right to come and guide us into a little circle and check us into this little box, and you can't go beyond here, you are, as a police entity, functioning by the blood of your slave masters. The DNA was, if the slaves are going to misbehave, bring them in a little circle, surround them, and anybody who steps out the line, you shoot them, beat them, kill them, have your whip in your hand. And the moment they decide to walk out of this line here, beat you. That's what policing in Guyana is. Do you notice that police in Guyana, in the USA, in the UK, in Barbados, in the Caribbean, wherever you are equipped with batons? Have you noticed that policemen have got sticks in their hand? Do you know why they carry a stick? And then in some cases they have, well, now in Guyana, sticks don't work. So they have a gun in their hand. Do you know why they have a weapon in their hand? Who are they protecting? If you decide you're going to run up to some ministers, well, it's our office, by the way. It's our office now. So you decide you're going to run up to the Home Affairs Minister office, which is our office. It's not his office. So we're going to go to the office that we own and tell them we don't like what the police are doing. Do you know the police will be there to shoot and kill you to protect him? So who are they protecting? I'll invite you on my platform at any time to tell your story, because I don't do politics in that context. I don't have political affiliations. I deal with truth. And if you're here to tell the truth, I can have you on my platform for us to talk the truth. If we decide as people, we're going to our office, called the Ministry of Health, because you don't like what's happening with dengue fever, how can you tell me that the public hospitals in Guyana, in reference to Linden, quarantine, do not have and didn't have, in Linden they don't have it, the kit to test for dengue, when the World Health Organization said there are 7,000+ deaths already from dengue fever? This is an oil-rich country, and at Mackenzie Hospital, they tell you to your face, you have to go and pay to be tested. You go to a private clinic, I think right side, wherever it is, and you pay them to test you for dengue. In an oil-rich economy, where you all just got 247 cents, whatever, million US dollars in June alone. In June month, the month of June, you collected 200, almost 50 billion Guyana dollars in oil revenue. All money. And at Linden Hospital, you can't be tested for dengue when the World Health Organization said there's a problem. Across the Caribbean, there's a big problem. 7,000+ people have died. And the hospital doesn't have dengue testing kit. But if we go to the hospital and we stand at the gate and say, well, nobody coming here until we get our dengue kit. Ooh, Or we go to Frank Anthony, Ministry of Health, and say, hey, we ain't playing with this. Send kids to Linden now, or you're coming out of this office. Or you're not coming into this building. The police will come. And they'll shoot you, and they'll shoot me. To protect who? Can you tell me? Who is the police protecting? If they shoot at the crowd, which would be the people. Remember, it's a democratic society where people govern. So if the people govern and the police shoot the people, who they really protecting? I'm about to leave y'all, because I'm heading down to this statutory meeting, this is here. But I want y'all to tell me, who are they protecting? If when we stand up, the police shoot us, who are the police protecting? Think on that until we meet again. You think on that until we meet again. When you stand in front of any ministry, if you go to stand in front after the president, it's even worse. Who will they seek to protect? You or the president? Thank you. Stay tuned. I'm going live in a minute. I'm going to the statutory meeting here in Region 10. And I'll tell you something right while I'm live to show you what Linden people are about and if you're serious about this business. Do well.